Welcome back, people of the internet. I'm your host Raving Geeks, coming at you with some insight and a review. If you're not aware of the current state of BLUELOCK Season 2 at the moment, the overall backlash that it's receiving is stemming from the poor quality of the animation. We have some things to discuss before we get into the latest episode review, as they are important factors to consider why this season's quality has taken such a disappointing path. Before we get into this video, please leave a like and subscribe to help support the channel, join the Discord and follow my social medias and whatever. Okay, if you're only here for the episode review, I suggest you skip ahead to the time listed on the screen right now, as we will be spending some time discussing the recent circulations of new information regarding why this season of BLUELOCK has not been the standard we all expected so far, and likely how it will continue to be going forward. Alright, we all good? A recent statement has just came out from one of the former animators of BLUELOCK's new season. Translated, it states, quote, "I worked on the second episode of BLUELOCK and I'll tell you why its animation is so bad. Months ago I started working on the second season of BLUELOCK, one in which I would work on not only one episode, nor 2 or 3, but rather 5 episodes. I started working on the second episode in which I had to take care of 20 cuts, basically animating scenes from zero, basically layouts. But curiously, the problems hadn't started at this point. I'm sure that not only I, but rather all of the animators that worked on this episode didn't do the job that ended up being published. Despite the low pay and negligible time, we did the best we could. There were many of my animations that were cut in the final version. Basically, they eliminated all the movement, some frames, or they just made them differently. But the fault doesn't lie in the one that came after me, since they probably did all that they could with little time they had. These problems, just like in JJK in the past, or in the vast majority of animes, are a result of the production committee of certain animes that take on projects simply thinking about the money and not the condition of its workers. And it's because of this that I didn't work on any other episode of BLUELOCK. Once I finished working on the second episode, I decided to get out, and just like I thought, the final result ended up being a disaster. This made me feel like this is a job that I'm not proud to upload. I got permission to publish one of my 22 cuts." End quote. You can imagine the horrible taste in my mouth when reading that. A lot of BLUELOCK fans signed off the issues with the animation that it came down to solely the animators and not considering other factors. Whilst the quality of this season isn't the worst, we were intentionally stripped away of aspects we had criticised not being prevalent in the final product. Editors and directors of 8-Bit Studio had single-handedly stripped down the episodes to their most necessary parts, which overall led to bad demonstration of the quality overall. Movement scenes were removed due to time limits on the episodes, as well as overall time restraints and lack of budget. A budget in which this season clearly had the money for, but saved to ensure the directors get more than their money's worth on this season. They are capitalising off the community of loyal BLUELOCK fans. The reputation of the entire series is being dragged down due to higher ups of the studio not caring for the quality and instead are focusing on the income, and that is horrible. This is not even mentioning the mistreatment of the animators being paid lower wages and having less time to produce a product up to their standards that they would be proud to publish. But the season is literally so unkept that the former animator had to make this statement regarding why BLUELOCK Season 2 is a failure. I don't know about all of you, but I'm tired of this clear demonstration at money-grabbing approach. This season is not being done justice, and now we are understanding more of the context as to why that is the case. If we let this go on, the reputation of this entire series will be dragged down, and the execution of the next season of BLUELOCK will be butchered too. And I know this community does not want that to happen. The movement is up to you all to demand better from the studios who unfairly treat their workers. The anime business is unfortunately an unhealthy environment for many individuals, and I just hope our actions can change that. Transitioning from that point won't be easy, but we can try our best. So, was episode 4 good? Well, actually, yes. Wait, what? Yeah, confusingly enough, this episode was pretty decent, but of course it would be unfair to say that this episode was without flaws, so I'll flat out say that this is not the standard I want for the U20 match, but it seems with each passing episode the quality of these matches are getting better and better. Its downsides, of course, are very empty still frames with not much happening, you know, the classic. Then some characters just being drawn super poorly in quite a few moments in the episode, leading towards a much more rushed delivery of the product for parts that weren't going to be focused on for too long. And I do believe the necessity of more time being put into the match of this episode itself would have been better. The intro played a teaser of Ryo's backstory that we got more of during the episode, so I personally believe you could have swapped out the beginning part of this episode with something else from the episode itself, then you could have definitely had more time for the actual match, because it was just about half the episode for them to cover the game and showcase the players of Yukiya, Nagi, and Ryo's new chameleon abilities. However, my main criticisms end here. Whilst yes, the poor quality was still present, it was only for some areas, so allow me to point out the good of this episode. Starting off, how they use the CGI. They're not displaying the full body shots like usual where you can see the characters running, instead they're doing CGI of mostly only showcasing the lower half of the body's movements. It's a very important part, as footwork is an essential to a product of a football anime, so I'm glad they finally took the time to do that to ensure it had filled some missing elements. While I do appreciate these effects, they're quite overdoing it when every single play, besides the characters that are of less importance, have these effects on them to make up for the lack of actual movements. But there wasn't a complete lack of movement because this episode actually had much more movement within it. Take this clip of my reaction for an example. What have they got to show for us in this match? Okay. Already passes being exchanged. The movement's pretty good. Okay. A lot of this seems kind of seamless. Oh yeah. That was a bit awkward, but hey. Okay. They're using CGI shots for below the head, so it's not as bad, which I appreciate. My god, look, they're actually moving. Holy shit. They're moving, guys. They're actually doing running. They didn't cut that one out. You then have Ryo's presentation in this episode, which someone has already made a joke on how Ryo's family supplied the budget for this episode. But I wouldn't be surprised if the money used on this episode was also part of the budget used on episode Nagi. I mean, they had quite a lot of similar effects and assets, which does include Nagi and Ryo's amazingly coloured auras. Ryo in this episode was also just a complete star, and that is what you need for one of the main members of the cast. He did super well in being demonstrated, and you can see by my reaction before and during his goal that I was impressed. Wait, what's going on with the art? Has it changed a bit? Oi. Oi. Yoi, yoi, yoi. It's the music and just the tenseness of the situation. Yo. Oh my god, he's going into overdrive. No. Sorry, my friends. Simply built different. Ryo is built different. Welcome. Welcome. Chameleon. Last thing to comment on in this episode is that I really enjoyed the after scene with Sai and the additional time with Yukimi and Nagi, so overall I'm going to give this episode a B-. As a biased individual, I'm frankly quite disappointed in how they handled Nagi's goal of trapping Yukimiya's gyro shot, but beggars can't be choosers, especially in a Blue Lock fan perspective. In any case, I had fun watching this episode and I hope you guys did as well. And I highly recommend that you all subscribe because I have a fun announcement coming very soon. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, peace.